Step into the spotlight.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and well, good afternoon, even if that's not a very popular thing to say in crypto. But so I am Nicolas Bacca, I'm co-founder and VP Engineering Lab at Ledger. I'm quite humbled to see the success of the conference. I mean, lots of people here for our first edition, thank you. And right now we'll be bringing you a panel about DeFi scalability. So we want to have maybe a peculiar take regarding DeFi scalability. So we want to think about how applications can help each other to get more users. So it won't be just technical about how you manage to create more transactions. It will more be about how projects can collaborate to onboard more users. So I will invite on stage so Mounir from ParaSwap and Jonathan from Aleph.im. And yes, and virtually we will have Nikolai from Lido joining us virtually on Zoom, I think. Yes, you're there. Hello.
Hello.
So I think I will begin with a very short. I mean, everybody should introduce themselves and their project, I think, and explain a bit the pain point that you are solving with your project. So let's start with you.
Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Jonathan Schemoul, founder of the Aleph.im project. We are focusing on helping DeFi projects decentralize the last mile of their stack, because we are providing a decentralized storage and computing layer, so that if there are still centralized parts, like we have seen with, for example, DYDX lately, we can help them decentralize it fully, and then it will help also on the performance part, because if everything is decentralized, you can also do cross-chain things that are quite cool.
Hi everyone. I'm Mounir, founder of ParaSwap. ParaSwap is a decentralized liquidity aggregator on Ethereum blockchain and other EVM chains, and in the future other blockchains as well. The main value proposition is to deliver prices that are better than the markets. The same thing, you use ParaSwap for the same reasons you would use an Expedia or a Skyscanner. And the product is both an API that other projects can use, like Ledger and Ledger Live, or other wallets and dApps and decentralized applications or protocols in order to leverage this efficiency in terms of liquidity.
Yes, and I will give it to you, Nikolai.
Yeah, thank you. So, hey guys, I'm Nikolai. I'm a product manager at Lido. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join you physically, but fortunately, I'm here because DeFi has no limits and borders, and glad to be here. So what do we do in Lido? And it's a liquid staking, and our mission is to make staking simple, secure, and keep blockchains decentralized. So we are bringing liquid staking experience across the different networks, and we are integrating with a lot of protocols. So that's why scaling DeFi is really a great topic to discuss for us. Thank you. Glad to be here.
So thank you all. So from what I am understanding right now, I mean, you are solving important pain points for the different projects. So Aleph can solve, I mean, the problem with decentralized storage that is very present with NFTs. So we have seen that if your NFT storage is not properly decentralized, well, you don't really know what you are owning in the end. ParaSwap is solving an important problem regarding how you can actually use Uniswap, because if you don't really know, if you don't take the best route, well, in the end, your trade might not be as successful as you want. And regarding Lido, today to stake Ethereum, Ethereum and Ethereum 2, you need to have a lot of Ethers. I mean, 32 Ethers can be a lot to many people. So it helps people. Staking more easily, and in the end, it makes the security of Ethereum 2 better and onboards more people. So regarding all that, I think that I see a lot of opportunities to onboard more users thanks to this project. So can you tell us a bit more about the growth of your project and how successful they have been so far?
Yeah, I can take this one. So ParaSwap existed, it's been 2 years. we have seen an exponential growth, especially in 2021. It started in reality in DeFi summer last year, when a big flow of users came into DeFi, and it's a natural evolution to use decentralized aggregators as well. So we're seeing a lot of wallets and huge volumes, something that wasn't imaginable in 2019 when we started. Back at the time, a protocol that is doing $1 million in 24 hours seemed like a huge success, while today we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars a day, and ParaSwap is processing around $100 million a day since the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
So on the Aleph.im side, we have seen quite a lot of light excitement about our solution lately on the Solana indexing side, because inside our serverless computing solution, we are able to run services, and we are also doing indexing for all the DeFi project on the Solana ecosystem, including Radium, Orca, Saber, Port Finance, Serum, etc. So that's pretty cool. And you might also have heard about the NFT launch of Ubisoft 2 days ago. All the NFTs are actually minted are starting to be minted today. And all the storage for these NFTs is on the Aleph.im network. And all the metadata is generated on the fly by our serverless computing solutions, meaning that you can have reproducible, undecentralized metadata for NFTs that are still dynamic with change on-chain and off-chain. So we are pretty happy about that launch as well.
Okay.
So yeah, talking about Lido, there are also, so let numbers talk. So say we are getting close to having 18%, so it's now around 17.7% of all the staked Ether staked with Lido, which is a really big amount and big numbers. And as we are presented not only on Ethereum, but it was initially the Ethereum project, right? But then we also expand and grow to different blockchains, which also the part of the goal. So we are now on the Terra and we are on Solana. And in total, we have around 11 billion in USD worth total staked assets across these platforms, because majority on Ethereum, but we are also launching the new chains, and also at the same time we are working on integrations inside each of the chain to make our tokens productive. But I think we could tell words about it a bit later.
Okay, I would say those numbers are quite impressive, especially for one chain and for the project that belong to. For the project that belongs to different chain, how easy would you say it is for you to move to different chains in order to onboard more users?
Well, I think that for a lot of project, if it's another EVM chain, it's easy. For us, it's a bit different because we are a peer-to-peer network that isn't a blockchain. So what we need is to be able to accept a message from a specific chain, so that what we need is to simply have a way to map a private key to a public key to an address and to verify signatures. And then it's on the RPC side of the chains. If the RPC aren't easily accessible, or that if you have a lot of issues on the RPC, it can get hard. But besides that, it's pretty easy on our end.
On our side, it depends. So the same thing, if it's an EVM chain, well, it may take only a few minutes on the user interface, just configuring whatever details is on that chain. On the backend side, same for EVM chains. Most of the decentralized exchanges are forks of exchanges that exist on Ethereum. So it's just a matter of configuring these ones and deploying the smart contracts that will go with that. So this may take a few hours to maybe a few days if there is some refactoring involved. But when we're talking about a completely different chain, like a Solana or even a layer 2, like a zk Sync or a Starknet, this requires to work from scratch. The good news is that these guys also are building EVM compatible either natively or through transpilers. But still, I think in this high load and high traffic that we're getting, it's always better to build natively so that we can leverage whatever is different for this chain. So it will never take too long to build because the core technology is scalable enough, but still it requires some extra effort. So if it takes 1 hour to 1 day on an EVM chain, it may take maybe 1 to 2 weeks to build on a new, completely new blockchain.
So for us in Lido, it's closer to this. It depends on the blockchain architecture, and there are a bunch of things. So for example, to get an L2, it's simpler. We could breach our tokens that we do as well. And at the same time, like when we launch the Solana or Terra, it often takes a time for development, because the thing here is that we need to have we always work with validators, the best in class for this. Potentially we can go anywhere where staking exists, right? But in general, we have to get good validators. We have to write our smart contract, the part of the logic there. And also we bring our existing tokens to other chains and other networks to make the cross liquidity happening. And also often we use the collaboration with the teams who are on these chains already. So we are open for a partnership to bring us to expand the new blockchains as well.
Okay, so well, considering the amount of work is about similar, I would say, to switch to other EVM chains. How do you manage to choose in your occasion? I mean, in your different project, and how is governance working with your project? I mean, how is the community able to tell you, okay, we would like to be able to work on that chain faster, or to develop something, or how does it work?
For us, since we are some kind of an infrastructure middleware layer, it's more based on like what projects wants us on like a chain. For example, Ubisoft is going on Tezos, we are going on Tezos. If one project asks us, okay, we really want to work with you, but we are on that chain, and we see that they have a significant amount of users, we will go on that chain. Okay. That's how we are seeing it. It's not based on the community needs, because in the end, what is driving adoption is more like what projects are on what chain, how many users there are. So that's our goal there.
Yeah, I think we use more or less similar metrics because for us, to aggregate a new chain, there should be some supply that is already existing. By that I mean liquidity, exchanges, and so on. Or it has to be a significant demand. For instance, we're building on ZK Sync and on Starknet in the future. There is still a scarcity in terms of supply, but we know there is a high demand in terms of wallets who would like to scale or are limited by the existing gas fees that are on Ethereum. So it has to be one or the other, and ideally it should be both. For us, also the experience was pre-token and post-token, or pre-governance and post-governance. It used to be just us who will make the decisions. Right now, we try to involve also the community in order to create a more critical mass or more network effects when we're launching a new chain. Also, one thing we're going to do is to decentralize that part so that it's going to scale even further, and it can be connected directly to governance. So there is a new chain we will launch there. Every DEX creator can build their own connectors. So you can think about subgraph or snapshot strategies and this kind of thing. Or you can see it like hotels versus Airbnbs. We used to be a hotel company, between quotes. So it's us who build the integration for a new chain. It's us who will build every DEX on every single chain. But what we're going to do right now is build only the core tech and let whoever is willing to build that integrations do it. And if it's past the governance vote, well, be it. It's going to be there. It's going to be live as soon as it's done.
So for Lido, we are a DAO, right? So we have a governance forum, and we have everything is decided by DAO. There are proposals on the governance. There are votings to decide anything. And whenever we see, or some of our partners see an opportunity, so it's always up to discussion. And It also depends on the ecosystem, right? If you're talking about different chains, so if we see there is a possibilities, there is a liquidities, there is a way how our tokens can be productive there, how we can deliver the goods to this blockchain and helping keep it decentralized. So that's the way how it goes. And yeah, and again, that's all decided by DAO. So after all, we have to get approval from the DAO, from the community.
Okay, and regarding decentralization, so in the end, would you say that you are improving the decentralization and censorship resistance of other projects, or would you say that you are adding more constraints in the end?
For us, we are aiming to add more decentralization to the maximum project possible. We are providing decentralization for their front end, decentralization for their middleware, and even sometimes decentralization for their cross-chain infrastructure. So yeah, we are really trying to make them the more decentralized possible, and adding as few constraints as possible.
But in our context, we try to leverage the governance in order to add more efficiency. Because if you think about this model of hotels, Airbnbs, where Airbnbs is orders of magnitude more scalable than hotels, and I think this can be achieved as well through decentralization, in a sense that the ecosystem or the protocol does no longer depend on a core team. It's anyone can contribute and anyone can make it scale very, very fast. But also in terms of pure decentralization, a project that relies on a single team is a project that is stoppable. And in DeFi and in crypto in general, we want to build unstoppable protocols. We want to build protocols that will be fully autonomous and cannot be stopped. And that's also in a security point of view, because having a core team that's managing and having the keys of the protocol is a single point of failure. But having decentralization and very, very quickly achieving decentralization, it means that the protocol itself is secure enough and it's managed by game theory and also by its internal mechanisms.
So for us, while we are removing the barriers and allowing users to stake without, for example, having 32 Ether, without taking care of node validator infrastructure, we bring in the more stakers on board. And it's compared to like exchanges staking as a Binance or some big services that provide those. So it's holding the big amount of the stake in one place and it's centralized as some players, and it gives them big power of voting of everything happening on the blockchain. But in Lido, we bring a lot of stakers, and we give this service to people. And it means, like, for example, for Ethereum, we have around 50,000 addresses participating in the staking. So this gives it really high level of decentralization. As more we have different holders, as more it's decentralized, that more blockchain is decentralized and more censorship resisted.
Okay, so yeah, I think the game theory part of the different protocol are quite interesting, and it's nice to see how it helps decentralization. So on your case, you would say that your different tokens play an important role in your protocol in the end.
Well, for our case, it's since it's more like a decentralized cloud, we have what we call the core channel nodes, which are the controllers of the network that need to have a minimum amount of token locked for the node to start, and then they need to have stakers, etc. And then they are the controllers of the network, and they go and verify that all the resource nodes that are providing storage and computing are really doing their job as they should. And then they can slash them and say, okay, this node isn't doing its work, it should be paid less. So it's quite important that they are really doing their job well if they want to continue getting paid. So it's clearly directly linked to the protocol work without having any kind of governance, because it's a pure utility token, which is important on the legal side for us.
In our context, there are two use cases for the token. Well, governance, that was super useful, and the participation rates is beyond the DeFi or crypto standards. and it's around the 10%, which is quite high, and it shows that the community is willing to participate in making the protocol better. But the second use case is around making ParaSwap itself as a product better, and by better in our context is better prices, better execution, better prices compared to the market, and better execution, which means that the price that I'm seeing is very close, if not equal, to what I'm receiving at the end, and that's by aggregating professional market makers. So it's like creating a bridge between CeFi and DeFi, and having the CeFi, I would say, standards execution where there is no slippage, no front running, and so on. So that use case of the token is contributing to making ParaSwap better, and we've seen that those market makers are doing better and better job over time, and we're running on epoch based. So the first epoch was like a proof of concept, and all other market makers show the rewards that were distributed, which encourages even more to perform even better. And we can see their share on the total volume growing on a daily basis, which has double-sided effect, because the more volume means that they are more competitive, which brings more users, which creates more and more network effects. And that's the first initial use case of the token, among others. Another one is a complementary insurance in case there is a hack of ParaSwap, in case it happens. So the token holders act as insurers, or like last resort insurance, or equivalent to the Seifu fund you see in Binance. And that's also a very solid use case, and also a commitment from the token holders that they are now not only staking and governing, but they are also securing the protocol.
So for Lido, we have a LDO token, which is our governance token, and the big part of it goes to the governance itself. It means that any decisions made by DAO and all the votings happening using LDO. At the same time, we are having the LDO treasury, which holds the like a DAO treasury where we got the income and where we can spend for incentivizing the liquidity pools, incentivizing money markets and everything like this. And at the same time, like a referral program, for example, we have a referral program with Ledger and with other top wallets, and that also goes there. And the other side of it is that by distributing the governance token, we also decentralize the governance of the whole DAO, and that's also, I think, the goal.
Okay. Well, I think it will probably be close to our last question. Where would you like to go in the future to improve even more your protocol? So what are your plans for the future? I mean, at least the plans that you are working on and that you want to provide to the community.
Well, as we have seen lately with the DYDX issues, then like even with like other protocols lately, getting all the DeFi protocols on a decentralized cloud. So like for DeFi, it would be the first step for us. And then another important step is for the metaverse, because we are seeing, I know that's a bit tangent to write DeFi, but we are seeing a lot of metaverse projects that are running game servers that are totally centralized. I think that in the end, game servers as well should be decentralized on a decentralized cloud with decentralized computing. So like that's our plan for the next 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the goals are quite similar, is on more decentralization, and right now, as I would say, most protocols in DeFi are running on AWS and Google Cloud and so on, which works fine. I mean, we are able to achieve Web 2.0 scalability with millions of users, but I think this is also a central point of failure and also a big privacy issue. Because right now, if you're using MetaMask, you are probably using whatever is used by MetaMask, like Infura. So many people who think they are anons right now, in reality, they are definitely not anons, because all their IP addresses in all their interactions is linked to their address or addresses and stored in AWS servers. So I think there is a need, a vital need, especially on a privacy and a security point of view, to decentralize the infrastructure that runs those services by solutions like Aleph, by full nodes like Pocket Network, and so on. So I think this is a necessity, and it's more aligned within the realm of the ethos of crypto.
So for Lido, it's a big part, again, it's a decentralization and keeping the staking decentralized on every blockchain where we go. And looking at the future, we want to make like possible for anyone to stake on any network and any size, and to be the liquid staking to be present everywhere, and to make our tokens as much productive as possible, so it will be more profitable to use the ST tokens rather than native tokens, actually, because you have an additional profit on that, and you could use them around the ecosystem. And we believe that like staking is better than holding, and the best staking is liquid staking, and we are just trying to provide the best service for liquid staking with Lido.
Okay, so well, thank you all. I hope this gave the public a good overview of new ways of scaling and of free, quite interesting project to do that. I see that maybe we have 3 minutes left, so maybe we have a question for anybody, from the public. Please.
So I have a question for Lido, for Nikolai. So how do you ensure decentralization within Lido? Because, for example, let's say you said you have 50,000 stakers, but let's say they all stake in just one validator node, and then it's not really decentralized. So you have like systems that just increases the number of validators to ensure that it's as decentralized as possible?
Yes, thank you. That's a good question. So we are constantly adding the best validators in each network ecosystem, and there is we split the staking between the validators. So that's a big part of it. So it should be the fair game, and we're taking care for it, right? So that's the part on the Lido shoulders to keep it decentralized between the validators and make it the fair spread.
Okay, one more.
If nobody wants to ask question, I will, because I feel shame that I ask so much, but if nobody wants. Yeah. I also have a question to the Lido, like a validator, when will be Cosmos Atom, because it's like the big part of the staking, and when you will invite new validators to participate in Lido, because it's very interesting with liquid staking. And also, second questions to ParaSwap. You were speaking about that you are looking for the some chains that have also EVM compatible. It's a Velas. It's a full fork of the Solana, but just with implemented inside EVM compatible. They just combine Ethereum and the Solana. Very interesting technological technology. Very interesting. So maybe you will use it.
Okay, so let me go first. So for Lido, that depends on the blockchain. I mean, we are open it for new validators, but on some chains, it's harder to get like professional validators because they're just starting, right? So token, and we are opened, and it means like you can come and talk to me, to our governance forum anywhere. If you have a good candidates, we are totally open. That will be very welcome. And at the same time, talking about Cosmos, yeah, definitely we look at there, and we plan to get there. I cannot say to you the right date, and I'm not going to provide any ATA right now, but we are looking there and going to be there for sure. Thanks.
My answer will be always yes, especially VM chains are quite easy to build on top of, especially if the underlying, the DEXs that are run on this chain are forks of existing DEXs. It takes a very short amount of time to build. But yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay, so thank you all who are closing, and well, thanks for your question as well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.